Other vital components of the airborne war are such specialized tasks as defoliation, a maneuver designed to peel back the cover from which the Viet Cong spring ambushes on Allied supply convoys and troop movements.
During the war, defoliation was done by plane, helicopter, and backpacks. However, 95% of Agent Orange was sprayed from C-123 cargo planes, modified with nozzles that would release the liquid in a spray. The planes flew on clear days and early in the morning when the air was calm. Usually, the planes flew in groups of 5 planes to maximize coverage. The planes would range up to 85 kilometers at an altitude of 46 to 70 meters above the canopy. At that height, the spray coverage was about 80 meters wide for each plane. Over 11,000 missions were flown.
Well, when we got there, they told us that we're spraying Agent Orange, especially in the areas that they had control over, which are like Cam Ranh Bay and Da Nang and Saigon. But they never really specifically said, it was a defoliant, and that's all we knew.
I didn't know it was Agent Orange. I'd see this vapor coming down from an airplane, and I just suspected that they were spraying the foliage, The grass was taller than this house, and they cautioned us not to go in there because it might be infested with the disease.
He was concerned about his health and his liver, and his shaking a little bit, and he knew that he was going to be continually sicker from the Agent Orange that was sprayed on him twice when they were out in the jungle. And he told me that one time he radioed in and told them to get, whoever was spraying, get word to them that they were down there. And the response from the base was just, run like hell because I can't stop them. I think they know you're there, but that's not going to do any good. And he said it burned and it was sticky and it was horrible stuff. They did it to him twice.
According to the United States Army and the Department of Defense, every person who served in the Republic of Vietnam was exposed to Agent Orange. And that's from day one that you're there to the day you leave. So every day was a relevant day. And the weird part of it all, Agent Orange exposure, nobody knew anything about it.
Yeah, you don't really have to, a lot of people just, did you get sprayed with it or something? You don't really have to because it's such a, why it's banned, it's such a, it never becomes inert. It never breaks down to be anything else. It's always that poison, and it goes into the earth and it seeps into water tables. It's like living on a toxic dump. So you get it from the water you drink, from the air you breathe and stuff. And it's a big problem in Vietnam today.
The soldiers were not advised about any health risks. They were told it was a harmless herbicide. The toxic side effects were first recorded by soldiers, but largely disregarded by the military command. The benefits of clearing the cover around military bases outweighed the inconvenience of soldiers developing rashes from exposure.
It wasn't just the widespread and prolific use of undiluted herbicides that successfully defoliated the canopy and destroyed rice crops. While those missions contaminated the ground, air, and water with long-lasting toxins, it was the careless handling of the toxic agents and reckless disposal of used barrels and unused chemicals that magnified the exposure, especially to Agent Orange. Rarely did the soldiers or airmen who sprayed or handled the herbicides wear gas masks or protective clothing. Empty or partially full barrels were discarded haphazardly, as if contents were some kind of harmless liquid. Some barrels were seen as convenient vessels for storage, cooking, or holding drinking water. The damage to the soldiers' health was ineluctable and the seeds of diseases and disorders that afflicted the combat veterans, often years later, were inevitable.
So, Fernando, when he went off to Vietnam, I was about 14 or 15 years old, and I wrote him every week, and I would be so excited when I'd go to the mailbox and I'd get that red, white, and blue airmail letter from him. And he was just not the same person when he came home, and never, ever was. So Vietnam, you know, we say, you know, there's the KIA, and then there's the Vietnam vets that have come home, that Vietnam is still taking our veterans. And until the last Vietnam veteran is gone, it will continue to take our veterans, especially now that we know this Agent Orange was so, you know, such a problem.
And he ended up getting sicker and sicker. They told him that it was because of all the damage from being sniped that was the problem. And he kept saying, no, it was the Agent Orange, and they denied him treatment. They wouldn't even discuss it.
There are over 58,000 soldiers named on the Vietnam Memorial Wall who died from their wounds suffered during the war years of 1957 to 1975. Not memorialized are the hundreds of thousands who are dying or have died from exposures to lethal chemicals used to defoliate the jungle, kill vegetation, and control mosquitoes while serving our country in Vietnam. The Vietnam Veterans Memorial Fund is slightly over halfway completed in raising funds for a remembrance museum next to the memorials, while they continue to seek donors to pay tribute to our fallen warriors. We hope the remembrance also recognizes the Gold Star families left behind and honors the soldiers who survived the gunshots and explosives, only to return home and slowly develop disabling and deadly disorders and diseases from exposures to Agent Orange and its carcinogenic cousins, Agent Blue and malathion. For way too many years, while veterans got sick and died, the VA defended its policy of denial and neglect. It did not debate how to treat the ailments and alleviate the suffering, but rather that it should ignore the evidence and repudiate the combat veterans' pleas for help. Not even the VA denied the statistical evidence that showed that numerous cancers, along with diabetes, heart disease, and lymphomas, occurred at 2 to 3 times the rate among Vietnam veterans than among same-age veterans who did not serve in Vietnam. While these correlations do not definitively prove Agent Orange caused the disorders, the circumstantial evidence strongly suggests that Agent Orange was, at the very least, a contributing factor, if not the cause, of these disabling and deadly diseases. Our soldiers who fought an enemy in Vietnam had to fight an even longer battle once home to gain recognition for their service and to get adequate care for their Agent Orange and battle-caused illnesses. That fight is still going on, and its progress is covered in the next set of videos.